Well, welcome everybody to our amazing Race to Leaders Retreat challenge call. As we've been doing for the last 10 weeks, we have been talking on belief, and we've been very fortunate to have Jules on the call each week to talk to us about their thoughts on belief. And I'm really excited about our guest this week. I was fortunate to get to meet her and get to know her doing Jules training last month. And once I heard her story, I knew that we had to have her on this call. She's got an amazing journey, an amazing story, and really, really top-notch belief in this company, in these products, in this business, and in herself. So I'm really excited to introduce to you Emerald Ambassador Brittney Howard. Uh-oh, hang on. Somehow you ended up muted. There we go. Sorry.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Trisha. I'm so honored that you asked me to do this. I'm excited to share with you guys just some things that I've learned along the way. Hopefully my journey can help some of you overcome if you're feeling a little stuck. I have found that belief really is at the root of a lot of that. And so I'm just going to start by telling you my story, and then I will talk to you about how I overcame and built my belief. So I live in Georgia. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5, and I started Plexus about 3 years ago, mainly because I wanted to lose that last little bit of baby weight after my 4th child. So I loved the products. Things that it helped me with, I had no idea it was going to help me with stomach issues and stuff like that. It also helped my husband with a lot of his sneezing fits and just some back discomfort that he was experiencing. He lost a lot of weight. So we loved the products, and I jumped all in with the business. I saw this opportunity for what it was, and I just jumped all in. I worked really, really hard for like 7 months, I think it was, and I got about halfway to gold, and then I quit. I quit cold turkey, just quit. I said, I can't do this. This is not for me. This is not going anywhere. I just really struggled bad. And it really all boiled down to my belief, because I had a couple customers who came and said, oh, the products aren't doing anything for me. I'm not noticing anything. And I did not really have a solid belief. I didn't understand the value of what I had my hands on here. And so I let that get to me. Like, I let it shake me. And, I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm selling something that doesn't work for people. And, my reputation's on the line and people trust me, and I can't do this. And not only that, I had thoughts like, okay, what if I did make it to Diamond? Like, do I even have what it takes? Like, if I had that many people on my team looking to me to, inspire them and motivate them and help them, would I even be able to have what it takes to do that? And so I just decided I didn't have what it would take. And so I quit. And when I quit, I really thought that was the best decision for me. I didn't foresee it going anywhere for anybody anyway, because like I said, I was thinking it's not working for my customers. It's not going to work for anybody else either. And so I fully expected it to fail, and I was really surprised when it didn't. But, we liked the products. It had really helped us a ton. And I quit for an entire year. That whole entire year that I had quit, I was still using the products, and so was my husband. We could tell a big difference when we did not have our products. And so we still ordered every single month. And you know what else? I still got paid every single month. That is residual income. Even though I wasn't doing anything, I was still getting paid. And so that's the power of this business model. So during that year, I did a lot of personal growth. I thought I made the best decision by quitting. At first I did, until months down the road when regret really seeped in. I felt like, I guess I felt like I had failed. Like I let myself down. I was just disappointed in myself. Like, I really did want to work the business, but I knew that I wasn't going to be able to be successful at it if I didn't build my belief. And so I saw my sidelines ranking up, I saw my upline ranking up, and I thought, okay, well, if they can do it, then maybe I can do it too. And I would tell my best friend Fallon, she's my upline, I would tell her all the time, if I could just overcome these belief issues, I could totally rock this business. And so overcome them, I did. That's what I did. And I started working my business again. So the first time I worked my business, I got halfway to gold. It took me 7 months to get like halfway to gold. And then I quit. The second time I started working my business, from silver to emerald was 1 year. So the only thing that changed, it wasn't the products that changed. It was still the same products. It wasn't the business opportunity. It was still the same amazing business opportunity. The only thing that changed was me. What changed was my belief. And so I'm going to tell you how I built my belief and how I overcame that in just a little bit. But I want to tell you why belief is so important. Your belief is going to determine your action, and it's going to determine your reaction. And what I mean by that is whatever you believe in, that's going to determine your behavior. It's going to determine what you do, right? If you think about people like Adolf Hitler, for example, he was actually not a psychopath. He actually just had some really strong beliefs that caused him to do the atrocious things that he did. His beliefs were wrong. Clearly they were wrong, but it was his belief that propelled him to do the things he did. On the positive side, we have people like Martin Luther King Jr., who had a strong belief, like he had a conviction about something, and that belief propelled him to action, and it eventually cost him his life. And a lot of people are willing, when somebody believes something that strongly, it's like a conviction. Like a conviction is a belief that grips you. Most people are willing to die for their convictions. At least if they're not willing to die, they're willing to live by their convictions. So your belief is really going to determine how you act. And so it's really important what you believe. It also determines how you react. So if you really believe in the products, when somebody comes to you and says, I'm really not noticing anything, I tried it for a month, or, oh my gosh, I'm having this symptom or that, then your reaction is not going to be, oh my gosh, it doesn't work. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Your reaction will be, okay, either they're not taking the products consistently, or they're not taking them properly, or something like that. They haven't been taking them long enough. You're going to try to troubleshoot with them and help them through that, because you're going to know that these products are working in their body. And so your reaction is going to be an automatic, okay, the problem is not the products, the problem is they're not doing something right, or they haven't been on it long enough. Okay, so really, your belief is going to determine your action and your reaction. And your belief is going to give you courage to get out of your comfort zone. So, if I believed, hypothetically speaking, that I had in my hands a cure for cancer, like I knew that it was going to cure cancer, and then I find out that my mom has cancer, I'm not going to be concerned about what she thinks about me. I'm not going to be worried if she thinks I'm, or like if I'm bugging her or whatever. I'm going to be like, Mom, you need to try this. You need to take this. This is going to help you, because I really believe in what I have to offer her. I believe that it's going to in some way benefit her. So your belief is going to give you courage to make that contact, to do that follow-up for the 8th time. Your belief is going to give you that courage that you need to overcome that fear of rejection or the fear of failure, because you know that what you have is valuable, that you can offer people. If you think about the story in the Bible where the woman who had the bleeding for 12 years, and she had spent everything that she had on doctors and medicines, and nothing was helping, nothing was working. And then Jesus walked by, and she thought to herself, if I can just touch his garment, I'll be healed. She didn't sit there and think, well, I can't do it. There's no way I can do it. There's too many people. There's no way I can get to him. No, she thought to herself, I'm going to go touch his garment. And it wasn't her belief that healed her, but it was her belief that propelled her to action. And so your belief is going to determine what you do. So you have to have a 100% to the core, unshakable belief in what you are doing with Plexus. So there's 3 things that you need to believe in. You need to believe in these products. You have to believe that everybody you know needs these products. You have to believe that these products really can help address some root issues that people struggle with. You have to believe that these products are effective and that they work. You have to believe those things if you're going to be successful. Otherwise, you're going to hesitate. Otherwise, you're going to freeze if somebody tells you they're having a detox symptom. You have to believe in the products. You have to believe in the business model. If you are struggling, like if you have no problem whatsoever getting people on the products, but you're struggling to motivate your team to work, that is a belief issue in the business model. Because if you can sell the products, you can sell the business. It's really the same principle. If you believe in something wholeheartedly, that's going to show through in your passion. You're going to be excited about it. You're going to be passionate about it, just like you are about the products. So if your team is not working and you're saying nobody wants to work the business, then you have to check your own belief in the business model. Do you really believe that this business is changing lives? Do you really believe that this business model is a viable income? It's an amazing opportunity for anybody who wants to do it. You have to believe in this business model. Otherwise, you're going to be worried about what people think about you for being involved in an MLM and things like that. So you really need to build your belief in what you're doing. This business is changing lives. I'm one of them. I can tell you right now, my husband just quit his 8-to-5 job to come home and pursue his own business in real estate, which is something that he's always wanted to do, but he's never been able to do because we were completely dependent on his income because I've always been a homeschooling mom. And so, he has choices now, and it's definitely changed our lives. He's home with us all the time, and he's helping educate my kids and things like that. It's such a blessing. You never know whose life you're going to change or who's going to be touched by this business opportunity. More people go to bed at night worried about their finances than they do about their health. You have something phenomenal to offer people, and you need to believe that. All right, and then the third thing you need to believe in is yourself. You have to believe that you can do this. You have to believe that you have value to offer people just as a person. You have to believe in yourself. When I first started the business, one of the reasons I quit, like I said earlier, is because I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I had what it takes to lead that many people. And what I found was that really the only thing holding me back from success was me. In that year that I had quit, I did a lot of personal growth. And just a little bit about my background. I was in my first marriage. I was married to a man for 8 years, and he was repeatedly unfaithful to me. Like over and over, he was unfaithful. And we had 2 children together, so we ended up getting a divorce. And I remarried. God sent us a wonderful, wonderful man, and he's precious. And so a lot of healing took place. However, I guess when I started this business, I realized that I had a lot of baggage left over. Like when you go through something like that, it kind of leaves you feeling worthless and like you don't have a lot of value to add people. I would have thoughts like, well, why would somebody want to join my team? Leslie lives in the same town and she's awesome. So why wouldn't they just join her instead of me? But as I read books and I changed my thoughts, I realized that I do have value to offer people. I am worth joining. And the only thing holding me back was me. It wasn't anything but me. It was my own thoughts about myself. So you do have to believe in yourself. If you're sitting there thinking you can't do it, then you won't be able to do it. If you're thinking that you can, then that belief is going to propel you to action, just like it did the woman with the bleeding for 12 years. All right, so how to build belief. In the products, you build your belief by researching the ingredients. That's a good place to start. You can Google every single ingredient on that label and see what they're doing in the body and see if that doesn't get you really excited about these products and why it's helping with so many different things. You can read books. This is how I built my belief in the products. I read several books. The first one I read was called It Starts with Food, and it is just basically about whole foods, the effect that food has on your body and things like that. I read another one called Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. That whole book was about hormones and blood sugar and all of that. And so it really helped me realize the importance of blood sugar. And then I read another one called Grain Brain, which was all about inflammation. And that was super interesting. It was just talking about how systemic inflammation is, the root of a lot of problems. And so I just read a bunch of books that helped me understand why these products were so needed and just the value of it. And so that really got me on fire about sharing with my friends and family. And so I decided after I read those books that everybody I know needs to be on these products. My mom, my brother, my dog, everybody. So read those books. Build your belief by reading and researching and just learning. You can build your belief by reading testimonies. If you see a testimony that helps somebody deal with their headaches or their fibromyalgia or whatever the case may be, I mean, there's thousands of these testimonies. These people aren't making this stuff up. So you can just read the testimony, know that it helped them, but then try to figure out why. What does plexus have to do with PCOS? What does plexus have to do with migraines? What does plexus have to do with allergies? And when you figure out the link to almost everything, how it goes back to either blood sugar balance or gut health or inflammation, then you will get really excited about sharing, and that will build your belief. So that's how I built my belief in these products. In the business opportunity, you build your belief by studying the industry. Read a few books about network marketing in general. Millionaire by Halftime is a good one. Flip Flop CEO. Those are just general books about network marketing in general. Listen to what the experts have to say about network marketing. Some of the wealthiest people in the world are either involved in or endorse network marketing as a business model. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump was on a talk show one time. Not that I'm a Trump fan, disclaimer. But he was on a talk show, and they asked him, if you were to lose your millions today, what would you do tomorrow to begin to rebuild again? And without hesitation, he said, network marketing. And the audience laughed at him. And he was like, see, that's why I'm up here and you're out there, because I realize a good opportunity when I see one and you don't. So it is a viable business model. And I actually had a girl on my team she was recruiting people. She was having lots of customers, getting people on the products. She was like, Brittney, I am having a hard time getting anybody to work. Nobody wants to work the business. I'm like, okay, well, that's a belief issue. Let's figure out how we can build your belief in the business. So we started reading Millionaire by Halftime together. By chapter 2, that girl had a team, and she's growing like lightning fast. She caught the vision, and that's what you have to do. You have to know. I mean, you got to get to a point where if you can't understand why somebody wouldn't want to do this with you, like you're scratching your head trying to figure out, I don't understand why somebody would not do this. It just doesn't make sense. So build your belief by reading books about the business model. And then to build your belief in yourself, it really starts in your mind. It starts with your thoughts. And so what I did was I read Switch on Your Brain. That book was a game changer for me. That book is basically a scriptural approach to science. Science is realizing some things that the Bible said thousands of years ago. And verses that I had read many times before just kind of jumped out at me after I read that book. So it was just basically about how your thoughts can even physically affect your DNA. And your thoughts become your reality. And I used to think it was just a bunch of hokey stuff, about like changing your thinking and believing in yourself and all this stuff. I really did not think it was a problem for me until I read that book. And I realized that God has a lot to say about our thought lives. I believe the Bible is the Word of God. He's the one who created the entire world. He's the one who invented it. So if you invent something, you get to write the instruction manual for it, right? You're the one that knows how it runs best. So God gave us His Word. He knows how it all works best. He invented relationships. He invented the earth. He invented our brains. And so he knows how it runs best. And he has a lot to say in there about the way we think. This is biblical stuff. I mean, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's from Proverbs 23:7. Philippians 4:8. Whatever's true, whatever's honorable, whatever's just, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, commendable, excellent, anything worthy of praise. Think about these things. Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So God has a lot to say about what you think. Your brain is like a computer. It only knows what you tell it. It's not going to be able to discern between what's true and what's false. It only knows what you input. And so if you're inputting things like, I can't do this, nobody wants to join my team, nobody likes the products, whatever, if those are the things you're telling yourself, that's what you're going to believe. And your belief is going to determine your action. So it really does start in your mind. You have to say positive things to yourself. You have to recognize those negative thoughts as false. In other words, if your words to yourself are not agreeing with God's words, then they're lies. And you got to be able to recognize that and change it. And that is what is going to change your future. So that reading that book, Switch on Your Brain, is what helped me to realize that I was holding myself back just because of all the emotional things that I had been through up until that point. And I just realized that God made me. He gave me my own strengths, and he gave me my own gifts and talents that I can offer people, and that I just had to, run with that and trust that, he has my best interests at heart, and that I do have worth, and that I can do this. And so when I overcame that belief, I really did start running out of my business. That was the only thing I changed. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the products, it wasn't the business, it wasn't anything that changed from the first time to the second time, but my belief. And so once I built my belief in those three areas, the products, the business, and myself, then I was able to overcome that. And I got to Emerald in a year. So that's my story, Trisha. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, I knew it was going to be powerful, because you and I met within like the first couple of minutes of Jules' training, and I was hearing your story, and that was the first thing I said to you was, so many people need to hear your story, because we hear this so often where people get discouraged from that silver to gold section. And it really is truly all about the growth that we go on this journey. And when they get to hear about someone else doing what you've done, but you had to put in the work, right? It didn't come to you by just, hi, I'd like it to happen, I wished it would happen. It's got that action behind it. You had to have belief first that you could do it, and then you had to put the action behind it. And I love that. I've read Switch on Your Brain. Dr. Carolyn Leaf, I think, is who does it. And I read that years before I ever came on board. And I read it when I was doing a Battlefield of the Mind, the same book by Joyce Meyer. And it was just a lot of thoughts on how we do things and how we think and how we, mull things over in our minds, and how important it is to focus on those good thoughts. So let me see. I think chat just popped up. I want to make sure. Oh, thank you so much. And I loved it, because I really wanted to make sure that you had a chance to tell your story, because often we hear, the people that are in our immediate groups, right? Our immediate uplines or our immediate sidelines. And we don't get to hear from people in other groups that maybe we don't interact with as much, which I loved getting to hear your story. And I can tell that there's so many people that were on this call that are probably feeling the exact same way. I was watching heads nod and lots of people writing notes. And I am so grateful that you spent this time with us, because I really think it's going to make a big difference in somebody's business today. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad you had me on. I hope that helped somebody. I had to be vulnerable there. That's hard. But I was amazed at Jewel training too, how there was just like so many people there from different walks of life. That was what amazed me the most. It wasn't like people that had it all together. You know what I mean? Like, there's no such thing as a perfect leader. There's no such thing as a perfect team. Everybody had their own struggles, their own story, their own difficulty or obstacle that they overcame. But the one thing we all had in common is that we've all overcome something. And whatever you overcome, that's what you're going to be able to help people with in the future. So although my story was hard, like I don't think I would change it, just because it gave me a certain amount of wisdom. So now I can point out if somebody is struggling with belief, I can help them with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that it happened the way that it did. And thank you for having me on here, Tricia. It's such an honor.
Well, I am so glad that you were able to join us. And I'm so glad for everybody who was on this call, because I'm sure that they're going to walk away very, very excited by what they're going to take away from this. And they're going to put it into action with their belief. So thank you, Brittney, so, so very much. And everyone, thank you for being on our call tonight. And everyone have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Take care.
All right.